Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is BestInSlot. Welcome back to yet another mod spotlight for Jurassic World Evolution 2. I promise we'll have some different content this coming week, but I promise we'll have more of this as well. I've got 8 new mods to show you, however, and it's still really good stuff, and that's why we're showcasing it in the video. So we'll dive into that in just a second, but before we do, a quick disclaimer. Mods can and possibly will break your game. We'll talk about that in a second. If they do break your game, it's not my fault, it's not the mod maker's fault, and most importantly, it's not Frontier's fault. Now, those of you with eyeballs and a working memory will remember, or will have noticed, this is not the usual mod spotlight map that we use, and that's because my mod spotlight map has broken, rather coincidentally. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with it. All my other maps are still loading absolutely fine, but something has gone wrong with my mod spotlight map, and it just crashes the game every single time, no matter what I do. I'm going to do a fresh install, completely devoid of mods after this, and hope that does something. But yeah, the point is, it can cause issues, as you've just seen. It is rare, and it's, you know, I'm uninstalling and reinstalling like 100 different mods all the time for these videos, so things are a little bit hectic, and most people will be fine. But it is a risk, and you should be aware of said risk. Right, let's get started. So, we've got 5, I'm going to just clear out these trees a little bit because they're casting shadows and that's very spooky. We've got 5 terrestrial dinosaurs to check out today. Not all new species, some really cool variants and stuff like that. We're going to kick things off with not a Ceratosaurus, but a Ceratosaurus. So as you can see, our Ceratosaurus has changed and is instead a Torvosaurus. This is made by Jagged Fang Designs, and I was avoiding showcasing Jagged Fang Designs work, generally speaking, in these videos, because they are not doing new species at this point in time. They're doing replacements, as we can see right here, and I thought, it's not really what we're doing at the moment. However, this Torvosaurus is so beautiful, absolutely stunning. I just couldn't resist showcasing this and one of their other dinosaurs in just a moment. Their reasoning for not making this a new species as opposed to just a replacement is simply that they're waiting for Evolution 2 to have finished updating, no more DLCs, no more updates, just so they know everything's going to consistently work forever rather than having to update things all the time. That totally makes sense to me, totally understand that. It's a bit of a shame for us, of course, as players, but you know, a little bit of patience never hurt anyone. Probably did, actually, probably killed many people over time. So, Torvosaurus, a megalosaurid from the mid to late Jurassic of several places in the Americas and Europe, and possibly Africa, coexisted with other large carnivores like Allosaurus and Ceratosaurus. But yeah, this design by Jagged Fang I think is absolutely beautiful. That bright burst of sunlight sort of colour there on the head shape, really, really well, blah, 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 blah. Cut. No, just, I love their pattern work as always. The modelling is fantastic, and it's got a little bit of a bird look to it. It's got that kind of birdish sort of colouring and design, which I really appreciate as well. I just think it's a really, really beautiful dinosaur and was worth showcasing. Moving on. Next up, we have another Jagged Fang Designs dinosaur, this time replacing the Megalosaurus. So this is Allosaurus Fragilistice. There's of course Allosaurus already in the game. That is, I believe, probably Jimadensi, which is the newest species of Allosaurus. This is Fragilis, which is actually the type species for Allosaurus. Don't quote me on the Jimadensi thing, I couldn't find out for sure what it is. But again, I know it's a replacement, but it's an absolute beauty. It really is. It just looks fantastic. These designs, these dinosaurs were originally meant for Advanced Operation Genesis. I was immensely sad when Advanced Operation Genesis was shut down, but in the end we ended up getting the same dinosaurs right here looking staggering in Jurassic World Evolution 2 instead, which is probably working out for the best if we're totally honest. This one's a little bit calmer coloration wise than the Torvosaurus, but again, it has, if there's one thing I always love the most about Jagged Fang's work, is the texture work, the pattern work. It's always really interesting. You know, this is a straight up brown dinosaur right here, and yet it's so interesting to look at. It's so varied in its design. I really love how the head's been remodeled as well. These little crests just looks really nice, and the texture work in particular around here by the tail I think is beautiful. Look at that, and it's stunning, just so naturally blended. So hard to make that work. You will see mods over and over again that have lower quality pattern work and colour work, and it is very, very noticeable because it's the difference between a realistic looking dinosaur and one that looks painted on, and Jagerfang just nail it every time. And of course the modelling and rigging and all that is spectacular as well, but this is something I feel more able to comment on. Right, moving on. This one is actually a new species, our only new terrestrial species of the day. This is a Nankus Avenensis by Leaf and Viral Cyclops. Yet another bloody elephant. Our third elephant. Leaf loves elephants, what can I say? Okay, this is going to take a billion years, so I'm just going to talk while they're coming out. So, this is a Nankus Avenensis from 8 to 2 million years ago, existed in Afro-Eurasia. Elephantoids, very similar of course to modern elephants with two key differences. Typically they would have little shorter legs, but their main thing is the tusks, which are absolutely gigantic, really, really long, much longer than you'd find in a modern elephant, and that really does get showcased right here. Between these three, we've got this, we've got the woolly mammoth, we've got the other thing I can't remember with the stupid face. You could build like just a straight up mammalian zoo at this point. You know, we're already there. We've got the Megatherium as well. We've got 4 mammals in the game already, if not more, if I forgot. I think we're on 4, but 4 is a pretty good start. 3 of them are elephants, but that's neither here nor there. It looks a little bit rubbery, it must be said, because of the sort of texture patterning work over here at the side, but still, it's very cool to... Are you just both going to stand in the most awkward place? Yes, you are fantastic. I'm just going to pick you up, okay? Oh, yeah, I forgot that you can't... Yeah! I can do anything. Oh my god. Yeah, no, really cool. Works really well on the rig, really well done. The tusks are gigantic, just as they should be. Really would stand out against the other elephants we already have in the game, which is... Oh, that looks so cool. Sorry elephants, but... Man... Yeah, I mean, ain't that beautiful? Anyways, get distracted. Yeah, looks fantastic, as it always does. I can definitely see a Pleistocene, Miocene sort of park being developed eventually. Moving on, we have a Parasolosaurus, and it is a Parasolosaurus. It's just a variant on it. This is made by Kangaroo Joey 1. So, in case you don't recognize it immediately, this of course is the website version of the Parasolosaurus, designed by Julius Sotonye. I'm just gonna not even keep attempting to pronounce that and keep butchering it. Julius something. Fantastic website design. Of course, there was loads of phenomenal paleo designs on the website. We had this, we had the baryonyx, we had the Microceratus, yada yada yada. Looking really, really good. What's really interesting about this as well is very similar to the Edmontosaurus. You can see in the head crest here in particular that kind of patterning, and just the way the colour looks is very, very similar to the Edmontosaurus, and very similar to Julius's other work as well. I believe the Edmontosaurus is also a website design, but I can't quite remember. Either way, it's been brought into the game really well. Yeah, just looks really nice. You can see what I mean a little bit though, in that this looks a little bit more painted, especially around the head. It looks a little bit less real, and I mean, don't get me wrong, it's much harder to balance a green like this though. That is, you know, it's a very hard colour to work with, and I do think it's a fantastic job. But I think it's been remodeled as well, because this is, as far as I remember, the default Parasolosaurus. Essentially, this is using Death Valley. What are you doing? Death Valley and Rana, and yet it's been chunkified and again brought more in line with the actual dinosaur to be paleo accurate, which is very cool. Final terrestrial creature for today. This is a much smaller change than the others we've seen so far, but you know I love a Pachyrhinosaurus revamp. So this is Pachyrhinosaurus revamp by Drunk Sayori. Every time I release a creature in these videos, I'm crossing my fingers. You guys are alright down there. I'm crossing my fingers that at least one has a good pattern. So, this is a Pachyrhinosaurus revamp. Did I say Cephalosaurus? I hope not. Pachyrhinosaurus revamp. You can see a few major changes. It's longer for a start. The nasal boss over here is way, way bigger. And by revamp it, it's really just meant to be more in line with the real dinosaur. This is meant to be more paleo-accurate, while still looking like the Jurassic World Evolution 2 Pachyrhinosaurus. Much bigger nasal boss, both the front one and these little back ones here. It looks like a penis. Let's all move on. The horn here in the middle of the crest is much longer, and the crest itself is a little bit bigger as well. And more importantly than all of that, ladies and gentlemen, it no longer has, and this is the only reason I really download Pachyrhinosaurus mods, it no longer has the terrifying human eyeball, which to this day, I cannot believe is still in the game. I cannot believe Frontier hasn't fixed it, because it is so noticeably awful. It's so bad, and yet it's still there. It boggles my mind, it really does. It really, really does. I'm boggled. Boggled Pachyrhinosaurus, but yeah, it looks really good. It looks chunkier, it looks meatier, which we always love. It looks thicker, it looks tougher. It's ready to take on the world. Big old nasal boss, big old elephant, looking fantastic. We're going to take to the sea for 3 new species, starting with Paleofish. Now this little guy only releases in a 2. It looks really dramatic. This is made by Yosoba. We have yet another paleofish, which I think is really exciting. We've got tons of these little paleofish now. You could really build varied, interesting looking lagoons. Paleofish is a basal bonito, as they're known, with traits of tuna as well. You can kind of see it in the shaping, a little bit of tuna in there. And later it would, if not Paleofish, which I really struggle to find information on, by the way, a fish closely related to Paleofish would eventually diverge into both the modern tuna and the modern bonito, which is quite a common and well-known fish, but I personally am, really only know the tuna. Bonito is not part of my world. But anyway, Paleofish, it must be based on a large rig or something, because the way my camera's moving, the fact there's only 2 of them makes me feel it might be, because it was a max, it could be a Chronosaurus. I'm feeling Chronosaurus. I think it's based on Chronosaurus, yeah. So, Chronosaurus has shrunk down a little bit and made like a little fishy. It would take you a while to populate a lagoon with these, I'm not going to lie, because you get 2 of them at once, but it looks fantastic. It blends in really well with the game. It's got these terrifying, blank, milky eyes that make it look a little bit like a zombie, which I'm very sexually into. It's got those little, I can't zoom all the way in, I think because it's based on such a big rig. But the level of detail, I mean, look, you can see these teeny little teeth all the way around there at the front. Really hard to see unless you zoom in, but it looks fantastic. The modelling is actually really, really good. It's just you need to get right in there to see it, Right, next up on our list is a return creature. Both of these are, but really good to have them back in Evolution 2 as new species. This is Shionisaurus. One of my favourite creatures in the world, by the way. Just want to put this out there. Look at it! It's amazing! So, this is... I'm going to keep it there next to the fish because it looks even cooler. This is Shionisaurus by Leaf and MGR. And Shionisaurus, of course, is an ichthyosaur. It's just like our little ichthyosaurus we've got in the game. It's the same kind of deal, but it's absolutely goddamn gigantic. Up to 49 feet in length. Absolutely humongous. I say up to 49 feet. There's another species, Shionisaurus Fragilistice, which is up to potentially 69 feet in length. 69 freaking feet. Also, however, there's debate at the moment whether Shionisaurus Fragilistice is either a Shionisaurus or is it a Shastasaurus. So depending on where that ends up will determine how big Shionisaurus could have possibly got to. But yeah, really cool to have it in game. I believe this is based on the Tylosaurus. Yeah, just really, really well made. It's got that kind of almost whale looking sort of texture to the skin. I mean, you've decided to hang around in the darkness as soon as as soon as I decided to talk about your description, which is very nice of you, Shionisaurus. Thank you very much, buddy. Yeah, it's got that kind of whale-ish kind of look to it. You see all the scratches on it where it's been, fighting against other marine reptiles, potentially. Shionisaurus would have mainly hunted quite small reptiles. It wasn't battling over large marine reptiles usually, but still, it would have got scratched up, would have been hunted by other things potentially, especially when growing up. And there it is, doing a little duck pose for you. Right, moving on then. One more species to go, but the one I'm most excited about as per usual. This is Titanoboa by Leaf and Luca, who lives on the 2nd floor. 3rd floor? Where does Luca live? Luca lives on the second floor. Hopefully people get that reference. I don't think I'm just a massive weirdo. Okay, so Titanoboa, of course, are gigantic snake. A middle to late Paleocene snake from Colombia. The largest snake ever discovered. Up to 47 feet long by current estimations. Probably fed off fish mainly, unfortunately, which is a little bit disappointing. Wasn't going around and pulling an anaconda and trying to murder Jennifer Lopez or Ice Cube. But, yeah, looks absolutely phenomenal. As it always does, you know, this is a mod we've reviewed a couple of times on the channel now. Just looks absolutely beautiful. Unfortunately, really hard to use it in thumbnails because, I mean, look at how do you... It's too long, but looks really good. Moves really well. Has that kind of serpentine undulation going on here and there as it wiggles around the water. Love the patterning. Looks like a big old Titanoboa. Looks like a big old snake. You see, it's quite small compared to... it's about right compared to the Shionisaurus. Obviously, it's a lot smaller, but lengthwise, you'd say if Shoni's about 50 feet, and that's about 45, something like that. I don't know. I don't know how the in-game scale actually is, but the point is, it looks cool, and cool things are cool. It's a big snake. I mean, you're not gonna complain about a big snake, are you? Look at it. Actually, really well modeled. Again, the eye especially is fantastic. Love the color patterning as well. Really evocative. Very South American jungle kind of feeling, you know? Imagine this thing slithering towards you in the night, though. My god. So, what we can do with this, something I want to do. If you go on the Titanoboa Nexus page, you'll see some very cool screenshots of it slinking around in like a swampy sort of environment. And that got some people thinking it was actually a land creature, which would have been really cool. I think that would have actually been better, but then, of course, to get the correct movement would be really difficult. So, what we can do, however, to kind of replicate that, and I think this is what Luca probably did, we can pick it up using Kaio's Wii toolbox, and we can move it. I built a little exhibit over here, and we're going to lift B, and what we can do, basically just for the purposes of taking good... Oh, no, senorita. Okay, let's move you. Right, just about there. No, nearly. Oh, the problem is I picked it up as it was diving, so it's kind of like in the worst possible position. But if you wanted to, at least take cool screenshots of it in a more... Come on, capture mode, what are you doing? Broken. Oh, there we go. If you wanted to take screenshots of it in a more swampy sort of environment, you could do that just like that. I think that looks really cool still. Oh, it's still there. Oh, sweet. I mean, it's struggling. Oh, there we go. But if you wanted to, you can move it into a swamp and have it there for a little bit and take some really cool screenshots of this Titanoboa slinking along this sort of marshland, swampy, South American, Amazonian looking environment. That would look really, really cool. I think even that looked really good. You just want to make sure you grab it at the right time. Okay, I don't know what I've done, but I broke it. Anyways, there we go. So those are our mods for today. Some really cool aquatic creatures in particular, some really nice variants. I know the Jaggedfang ones aren't new species, and that's a little disappointing. But you know what? Their reasoning totally makes sense, and they've released a couple of staggering looking dinosaurs anyway, so really cool to be able to see those in-game. I really like those Parasaurs as well. And the elephant, look at it sitting down. It looks really good. It's rigged onto the sauropod really, really well. Actually looks fantastic. Okay, that does not look fantastic, but the rest of it looks fantastic. Anyway, we'll end it there. Some really cool stuff today. Hope you've enjoyed. I'll see you lovely folks very soon. We'll be back tomorrow for something that isn't a mod spotlight. I'm going to try to do 2 of these a week, because there's a lot going on at the moment, and I think if I only do 1 a week, there'll just be too many. But 2 a week, we can do 2 a week, and that means we can do lots of other lovely content as well. Okay, check out all these mods at the links down below in the description. Let me know which is your favourite of the bunch, and I'll see you lovely folks very soon. Thanks for joining me. Cheers much as always. Bye-bye. Oh, one last thing to very quickly mention, doing this post-video because I completely forgot. As you can see, Leaf still hates British people. Titanoboa, once again, doesn't have a name or anything like that. If we go to the hatchery, you'll see it's not there. I'm going to keep pointing this out until Leaf starts his anti-British rhetoric, okay? Okay, thanks. Bye. Reaching out.